All right, Darksiders. So we got episode 6 of WandaVision. All Halloween Spectacular is the name of this episode, and man, this show is crazy good. I love how they are profiling Wanda's power, and it seems like with every episode we get a greater look at the extent of what she can do. I did not tell you that she was a beast. Somebody in the comments told me that, nah, she can't be the most powerful person in the MCU. They compared her to Thor. Wanda's the most powerful person in the MCU right now. I will entertain an argument for Doctor Strange. But for right now, where we are right now, I don't know what's going to happen when more folks get introduced, but where we are right now, I will stand by the fact that she is the most powerful person in the MCU. So how good was this episode? Answered some questions, and now I got more questions. And they keep doing that. They keep moving us through the different decades, and when we think we've got it figured out, then they give us some more stuff to think about, and I love how this show is doing that. So this show opens with a Malcolm in the Middle theme. So at this point, we are in mid-80s, and I love the visuals on this. I love the fact that they've really captured the essence of these different shows during the time periods, from the color grading to the costume design to even the performances and the types and choices of camera angles that they give us. It all feels authentically unique to that period in time, and it's such an excellent way to tell this story. So we get to kind of live in that period in time, but at the same time we see modern day elements of the show, and I think they're doing a fantastic job of doing that. So in this episode, Wanda is taking the family trick-or-treating. Interesting fact about this episode, it's the first time we actually see kids in the town, and we see a lot of them. Wanda's taking the family trick-or-treating. Her brother Pietro is going with them. Vision decides not to go because he wants to just kind of go and investigate the town, and he finds that things are very wrong, especially when he gets to the edge of the town. We'll come back to that. So I love this episode because, again, we see Wanda trying to hold it together, but at this point she is beginning to break. Her reality warping is beginning to break, and I believe that this is happening because I think the Vision has gotten in her head. She's not sure if what she is doing is wrong or not, and Vision is starting to challenge that notion. That's why when she has that conversation with Pietro, she asks him, so do you think it's wrong? And Pietro says, no, I think it's great. I think it's an amazing thing that you've done. Pietro is there. I don't know how he got there. There was a theory in the comments on my last video that someone thought the twins brought him there, but I don't think so. I don't think the twins are powerful enough to bring him there. I'm not sure how he got there, but I'm not completely convinced that Wanda brought him there either. Wanda is definitely warping this reality. It's clear from last episode and this episode she is doing the reality warping, but what's not clear is if she is being influenced by an outside force, and I think that that might be the case. Is it Mephisto? I don't know. I don't know who it is, but she is not doing all of this on her own. When she makes statements about not knowing how this happened, I believe her. I think that someone is influencing her. I think this is all her power, but I think someone is influencing her. So that's another mystery that they've thrown at us. I'm also not sure what happened with the kids. Why weren't there any more kids around, or were there more kids around and Wanda was just controlling that? I think that's an important factor to take note of. It's important enough for Pietro to mention it in the episode. Where were all these kids before? And then he kind of makes this statement and she looks shocked by it. So I'm interested to find out what happened to the kids and why we didn't see them earlier on. I think that's an important fact, and hopefully they roll that out to us. I also think it's fascinating what's going on with Vision too, because we notice now at this point when Vision starts to use his power, it appears that he activates the Mind Stone. So that for me leaves the question of what's going on with the Mind Stone. Has the Mind Stone been destroyed, or was Wanda really able to do reality warping to the extent that she actually recreated the Mind Stone? That's something that's fascinating to me, and hopefully they roll that out as well. If it is the case that she has recreated the Mind Stone, and then we get the introduction of the Infinity Gems being introduced back into the MCU, that's a whole nother thing that's really, really exciting to look at. And maybe that's something that we're talking about possibly leading to Civil War down the road. So there's so many things to think about, so many things to look at in this episode. And when Monica says that she has a guy on the ridge that she thinks can get her back into the hex safely, some people are saying online that they surmise that this was Reed Richards. I think my buddy Adam mentioned this in his review of it, and I was reading online as well. And the idea behind this, for those of you all who never thought about Reed Richards, is that you know that Reed Richards has developed this technology with the suit that the Fantastic Four where called the magic molecule. So it's able to flex and change and do things like that, but the wearer of the suit is not affected internally. So the idea is that Richard might create something for Monica to allow her to go into the hex, but also not allow her body to be impacted while going into the hex. So we'll see if that's Reed Richards or not. I'm not sure about that. The big fan theory is that it's Reed Richards because that will allow the Fantastic Four to be introduced into the MCU. Maybe, maybe not. I do also want to comment on another fan theory where people have said Pietro's introduction, and the reason that the writers went with the way that he looks is because it might be the X-Men's introduction into the MCU. The problem with that is that the writing so far for WandaVision doesn't seem to support that. This appears to be the very same Pietro that died in the Avengers movies. He just looks different. And at that point, there is no tie to him and the X-Men. So the fact that you brought the Quicksilver in from the X-Men doesn't really mean anything if there's no tie to that character in the story. So I'm not really sure if seeing him means that the X-Men will now enter the MCU. I don't really know if that works. I also love what we get at the end of this. Man, did not say it. Did not say that she's a beast. Woo! Did you see her expand that town? Man, that was crazy. That was crazy. And she seemed to do it with very little effort. I mean, she didn't seem weakened after it. She didn't seem tired after it. She's a beast. Now, my question is, when she expands the town, we now know that Darcy has gotten sucked into the town as well, and Darcy has some information about what's going on. So it'll be interesting to see what other elements were pulled into the town that might impact what's going on with Wanda's reality warping. So there's a whole lot to think about in this episode. I want to know how you're feeling about this episode. Were you excited about it? Did you like it? If you have any theories, please share those theories in the comments below. I would love to know what you guys think about what's going on here, and anything that I haven't shared theory-wise that you want to share with the Dark Side community. Let's talk about it below in the comments. As always, I love you guys always, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.